I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, February the 20th. And we got the week kicked off on the right foot here. It's always great when the board is closed because it doesn't have the opportunity to screw anything up. We've got a lot of good fundamental demand out there and good positive fundamental news and just a lot of energy in this market. And after the big $4 higher fat cattle trade we had, hitting that 130 mark that we've been having our eye on for a long time. But we'll talk about all that, and with a little extra time not dealing with the board, we'll talk about this alternative beef, which is the next thing out there that's going to try to threaten the way of life for cattle producers, and visit about that for a little bit. But let's talk about last week's fat cattle trade. The weighted average come in. We were hoping for a big volume if you listen to the last report, and boy did we get it. By far the biggest movement we've had this year. 127,800 head in the 5-area feeding region, and that is huge. Nearly twice as big as the week before's late night hush-hush trade of 66,400 head, and compared to the same week a year ago was quite a bit larger than 108,600 head. But just think about that, 127,800 head. That is a good, healthy, negotiated cash market in your 5-area feeding region. Your live steers had a weighted average price of $129.75, which was up $3.60 over the weighted average from the previous week. And your dressed steers averaged $205.03, actually over the high mark of $205. So that's pretty significant there, up $4.73 compared to the previous week's weighted average. And there was 125,600 head that sold on Friday afternoon. But really a great market there, and we're lucky to have that we were able to get it. And we've got a few more weeks to continue making hay with light market ready supplies until we get into March, and we're going to start seeing those show lists inflate quite a bit, and guys need to be thinking about pulling those cattle. Those cattle don't have to weigh 1,600 pounds to put them on the show list. We need to start moving some of these fat cattle. But another big thing that happened towards the end of last week and over the weekend was a little bit of moisture. Even in parts of your southern plains had some moisture, and I tell you, here in the Texas Panhandle, not much at all. You know, I heard 2/10, a few places got a ½ an inch, but it was something. It was really, and it is desperate. But you know, a lot of people, you know, around the Amarillo area had the wettest August in the history of record keeping, and then not a drop since. And no snow to speak of, no measurable moisture of any kind. People have been betting each other that it wasn't ever going to rain again, and a lot of them are already starting to pay off. That's how bad it was. But a little bit of moisture. Oklahoma got some moisture. We're expecting some more up through the eastern side of Kansas, right through the Flint Hills area, and that gives guys a little sigh of relief. If they can get a good rain in there, then before they turn out, they can get that burn off, and then really have some good grass coming on. But it usually does rain when we get into spring, and luckily in some places it's starting to. But that's helping everybody's attitudes as much as anything. But now let's talk about something bad. I don't want to scare anybody, but you need to kind of know what's out there. This alternative beef is starting to rear its ugly head. And what it is it's a beef-like textured product that's made in a test tube, and it's derived from plant and or insect proteins. But supposedly some scientists have found a way to give it a texture that resembles beef, and even can add stuff in there and give it a beef-like flavor. But you know, they're going out there and they're calling this stuff meat. Some of them are calling it in vitro meat, which that doesn't sound appetizing to me. But in all this world of almond milk and turkey burgers and all this crap, and now we've got this deal that's made in a a scientific lab somewhere, and normally it wouldn't give you much pause. But now we're finding out that all of our major beef packers have become big investors in the research and development of this stuff. And so that puts a whole new meeting on. And so we've got some producer groups that are fighting it. The main one is a producer group that you need to align yourself with. It's the United States Cattlemen's Association. I was lucky to be able to go to their last big conference and speak at it, and I was enlightened and pleasantly surprised at the way these guys act. They're not getting all the checkoff dollars and everything from you. They're running a lean association there, but they probably have the strongest lobbyist group for the cattle producers of anybody out there, and got the most teeth. And because they don't get all that money, they're not worried about stepping on political toes. But they are out there fighting the things that really matter to this industry. They've been the strongest ones to fight against the ELD mandate for the truckers that haul cattle. And now they're the ones out in the front end of this, trying to petition USDA to establish labeling requirements for when this stuff starts to come out and be available for sale. We don't want them calling it meat, and we damn sure don't want them calling it beef, but that's what they're planning on doing. But you need to get in there and check out the U.S. Cattlemen's Association. And if you're not active with somebody, these guys are always on the right side, and they're not worried about being too politically correct, yet they're not way out there on the outside of the fence in right field either. They're just about what we need, fighting for the cattle producers out there, and you might want to join up and start paying more attention to them. But let's look at your feeder markets on Monday. Real-time index on Beef Market Central late in the day on Monday, sitting at 148.43. Oklahoma City stockyards, 10,150 head. Good run for the city there. Call their steers and heifers $2 to $6 higher, with of course the full advance on your stalker type cattle. A true stalker, like a calf weight yearling that's kind of thin fleshed and is green, hasn't been too heavily supplemented with feed, and they can really make the most out of the grass whenever it gets here. But they're going to have to kind of lead them along a little bit until it gets here. But that's what the big push is on your grazing type cattle, to get ready for that grass. And with the little moisture that's going around, we may have some now. Joplin Regional Stockyards, 9,200 head. Good run for them. They called their true feeder steers, which a good market reporter there, Rick Huffman, separated those out for you. Feeder steers going right into the feedlot, steady to $2 higher, which is nice. Your stalker type steers weighing under 7 for the most part, $2 to $7 higher, and your heifers all weight steady to $3 higher. But you look at some good sales I had around. Russell, Iowa had a big sale now being broadcast by DV Auction. And if you look at that automated market report out of Russell, Iowa, look like your most popular weights there of your bigger calves and your short yearling cattle, $1 to $3 higher. 631 head of 6-weight steers average 650 pounds at 168.41 on the weighted average, mind you. 552 head of steers average 737 in the 7-weight category at 154.39, and 561 head of 8-weight steers averaged 851 at 145.02. That's a pretty salty sale right there. Another good sale out here that doesn't have the size, but the Sylvan Sales Commission Company is starting to put the little burg of Sylvan Grove, Kansas on the map. They had another big sale. They had one here a few weeks ago and had another good sale this week, and having it on a Monday where you like to see a big Monday sale, and selling lots of strings of cattle for not a high volume sale there, but they can get them sold. But Monday afternoon had 66 head of steers weighing 711, no doubt in a condition that they could go on and graze. And Toby told me that those cattle were going to be green and the kind. 165 and a quarter for 7-weight steers right there. And another big market out west, McCook, Nebraska at Tri-State Livestock had some Charolais steers, 61 head of them, weighed 802 pounds at 155.60. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.